Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today we're going to cover the important subject of what is the best way to get an EU visa to work in the EU and live there, I guess, as well. So before we get started on that subject, which is going to be fantastic, smash the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Please click the notification bell. Really helps me out. If you wouldn't mind to please click that subscribe. It's very helpful. And also, if it turns out you like the video, please click the thumbs up, the like button. They're also good for the YouTube algorithm. Really appreciate it. And always, if you like these things, share them with your friends. I try to help people every day, every week, etc., with international tax planning. So how do you pay the lowest legal amount of tax? International asset protection, forming offshore companies, opening offshore bank accounts, residencies, citizenships. If you'd like help with any of those types of things, please book a call with me. There's a link below, clarity.fm/Michael Rosmer, or check out our websites, offshorecitizen.net, offshorecapitalist.com. And let's get started. Okay, so I've had a number of people reach out to me lately who are maybe interested in being able to work in the European Union area, okay? And I'm gonna share some views here that maybe are not what you want to hear, but hopefully are helpful to you, and it's kind of the general advice that I've been giving people. So, of course, there are residency programs in virtually every country, and some of these are easier than others, some of them are harder than others, but it's worth understanding kind of the framework of what you get when you get certain visas, etc. Okay? So the first thing to understand, I did a video previously on what is the Schengen zone, you can go and check that out, is, hey, there's the Schengen zone. And if you have a Schengen visa, meaning that one of the 24 or so member states, however many Schengen zone countries, if you have a visa to any one of those, you have access to all the others. To travel around between without borders, etc. In theory, you can live there as well. Now, technically speaking, they may not want you to stay there more than a certain period of time from like a living standpoint, but you're fully able to. So that's pretty fantastic. Why is this important to know? Why this is important to know is because if you get a visa in, let's say, Croatia, Cyprus, Bulgaria, Romania, then these are not Schengen zone countries. And what that means is you're restricted to that country. So if you want to actually be there, that's cool, that's great, but it doesn't give you access to all the others. So generally speaking, it's helpful for people if they can get access to a Schengen zone country because it gives them a lot more freedom, okay? So that's point number one. Now, here's the thing. If you have a visa in those places, then you have access to live there. You don't necessarily have the right to work there, depending on the type of visa that you have, okay? So this comes a little bit into like how you would want to structure yourself. Now, in my opinion, the smartest thing that you should be doing right now, if at all possible, now this might not be possible if you're, say, a doctor or, I don't know, some sort of an engineer, but then again, it might be, right? If at all possible, your general move in today's environment should be to work online. If you can work online, it doesn't really much matter where you have a work visa. Then what you can do is you can choose to get a visa in the place that you want to live, and you can go from there, okay? So that's usually the best case scenario, meaning that it is pretty easy to get a visa if you don't need to have a job, okay? Now, it's almost always the hardest to get a work visa because of the fact that there's a concern you're taking jobs away from locals. Now, this is kind of ironic because you could take a job away from a local by working online, and somehow they don't consider that the same, but this is the way that it goes, okay? So my general advice to people is figure out where you want to live, plan on getting a visa there. In the case of the Schengen zone, you don't have to worry about going to the hardest country necessarily, because you can pick the easiest country in the Schengen zone and then have access to all the rest of the Schengen zone anyway, and then be able to work from online so you have that flexibility. Now, the other thing that will happen is once you're there, you may find that you're able to meet people in person and you want to do some in-person business. So this brings us to the next part, which is you can potentially start a company, and in fact, a lot of the ways that you would get a visa is by starting a company, and then you can contract to those companies. So those companies, in many cases, actually would probably prefer to contract with you. Now, it depends on the company, right? If you're talking about, some big multi-billion-dollar company, you may have some problems there, but you're going to get a lot of opportunities simply by contracting. Why is this? I put like a slide up on Twitter a little while ago showing if you made 100,000 euros a year or 200,000 euros a year, how much you actually kept and how much it cost the employer. And in some cases, I think it was Sweden, if you make 200,000 euros a year, it costs the employer 292,000 and you get like 99, right? So does the employer want to have that extra 92,000 euros in cost? No, of course they don't. That's crazy, right? They don't want that. So if they're like, hey, they can just pay the 200,000 euros, it's saving them a whole bunch, that's good for them, and they're happy to hire you, right? So there's some of those types of situations that you can get into. Not all, but a bunch. Now, it also potentially can improve your taxes, and that's also a pretty good thing, okay? So the combination for you is typically much stronger. Like, I think the traditional view of, hey, I'm gonna go get a work visa and I'm gonna go work here, in many, many people's case is not the right lens to look at it with anymore. The right lens to look at it with now is, hey, can I work remotely? That would be great. Can I then live wherever I want? That would be great. Number 3 is, can I get a company and I can contract, work similarly, but I can maybe be resident in a place that has a better tax regime, and or by operating through a business, I can save more money on tax, so I keep more. These are the smart ways to do it when possible, in my opinion, okay? So what does that bring us to? Well, there's gonna be some countries that are pretty easy, and you can go from there, okay? So that's the concept, is figure out where you can get an easy visa. So for instance, let me give you for instance that's quite easy that we can go with. If you need help with it, reach out to us. Portugal offers something called the D7 visa. Okay, a D7 visa is pretty easy to qualify for. Basically, you have to be able to show that you can make, it's like approximately 9,000 euros a year. It's not a lot, right? And that's a pretty reasonable visa. You can have access to Portugal. It can lead you to citizenship, which is the other thing about all this, right? Is that a lot of these lead to citizenship within 5-ish years, sometimes 7, sometimes 10, depends on the country. But once you have the citizenship, now you have the right to vote. Now you have the right to work in those other countries, et cetera, et cetera. So to recap, what do you got? When you have a visa, it doesn't necessarily give you access to that country for work purposes, okay? So the visa will give some restrictions on what it is that you're allowed to do there. Also, if you have a Schengen visa, it gives you access to the whole Schengen zone. That's great. You can get around this limitation on work often by either working online or by working via a company. Great things. These can also lead you to citizenship, and when you get the citizenship, that can then give you access to work as well as vote in and take advantage of all the services in all these different countries within the EU. So this is a pretty smart plan as far as I'm concerned. There's lots of solutions for how to do that fairly easily. You know, it'll cost you a bit of money and legal fees, etc., but not too bad. If you want help with those, please reach out to us. If you want help in general with, you know, where to get set up our second residency, how to get towards a second passport, second citizenship, whether it's in the EU or abroad, let us know. How to legally reduce your taxes as low as possible using international structures, how to set up offshore companies, offshore bank accounts, and yeah, if you want help with any of that, please click the link below, clarity.fm/Michael Rosmer, book a call with me, or check out our websites, offshorecitizen.net, offshorecapitalist.com. If you haven't already, smash the subscribe button. If you like the video, click the like button. If this is helpful to you, share it with your friends. We'd really appreciate that. We want to grow and give you great videos, etc. I'm going to see you guys on the next video.